It wasn't a prayer group that was isolated or limited to one religion. This student's interest was to bring together students of varied backgrounds and varied faiths to discuss their faith, share their faiths, and to pray together. And I would suggest that that probably is the strongest form of diversity and inclusion that you'd want to see in our schools, particularly our public schools. But unfortunately, I believe it's just not the right diversity and inclusion.
Well, it seems like it's inclusion for everyone except for Christians or people who want to pray. The school says, well, they don't have the budget. Laura said if money's the issue, she'll raise the funds to support the club. So don't school officials believe in religious liberty, the First Amendment? I'm sure this girl wouldn't want to force anyone to join the club, neither would the school district. So what's the issue here?
Yeah, I ultimately don't think it has anything to do with money. This has to do with the school's decision to support secular groups, like a pride group for students, like a climate change group for students at this school, but then to directly deny the same rights that this religious or this faith-based group is owed under the First Amendment. This group has rights of free speech. It has rights of freedom of religion and freedom of association. And the school's efforts here directly violate those rights.
Well, how about higher institutions of learning, Ken? We're still seeing plenty of discrimination, violations of constitutionally protected freedoms on college and university campuses. Any recent incidents that concern you right now? What and where?
Well, there's a whole host of incidents, and a couple of things. For example, you've got one of the largest fines issued against a higher educational institution at Grand Canyon University. That is the largest Christian university in the country. It was just fined almost $40 million for allegedly lying about its doctoral programs, when at the same time, many other institutions that have similar findings against them, or even in some cases much more egregious circumstances, have been fined much less. For example, at Michigan State University, there was a finding over a series of years that has systematically failed to address sexual harassment and sexual assaults on their campus, and they were only fined approximately $4 million. So that's a real concern, whether there is a targeting out there, whether it be at the elementary, secondary ed level or at the higher ed level. And I might also add that currently the Biden administration's Department of Education is looking to withdraw federal regulations that protect faith-based groups in higher education. And the rationale is that they say that enforcing those regulations against colleges and universities that are denying faith-based groups their rights is unduly burdensome on the Department of Education, which sounds a little bit backwards, I would say.
And state legislators are pushing back, though. In Missouri, House Bill 1518 would stop discrimination on state colleges and universities. So tell us about that. Why is the Human Rights Campaign condemning that legislation?
Well, the legislation in Missouri is very similar to 17 other states that have passed, at this point, legislation protecting faith-based groups. And it runs in line with the existing federal regulations that were established in 2020, which again protect faith-based groups. But what some groups argue or allege is that its intent is actually to discriminate against LGBT students who may not espouse the faith-based beliefs that these faith-based or religious groups would like to start. And one thing is clear, that no one has a right to demand or force you to associate with someone who you don't want to associate with. So many of these faith-based organizations want to establish membership or leadership requirements, which say, in essence, that as a leader or a member of this group, you're actually going to believe in the faith doctrines of the group. It doesn't sound like a particularly novel idea, but nonetheless, these are the claims that are made against faith-based groups to try to cancel them out on campus.
Okay, Ken Tashi, Campus Reform Education Fellow. Ken, I'm sure Campus Reform will stay on top of these and others, and thank you for setting us straight today. We appreciate it.
Gary, thank you very much for your time.